The new 12-team college football playoff will be set after a weekend of conference championship games, and here is how it's looking. You can marinate on that for a hot second. Cam, I'm coming to you. Do you have any issue with the new CFP format?
Yes, I do. Like, we have to stop. Like, bro. All right. I'm going to say it. A lot of people are thinking, and I'm going to say it. Nobody wants to see SMU. Nobody wants to see Arizona State. Nobody wants to see Indiana. Nobody wants to see Boise State. Straight up. Like, when I'm seeing this, I'm saying, how do you play before a team who's lost to, or Ole Miss has lost to University of Florida, Kentucky, and UGA? Even Miami, for that matter. You lost to a Georgia Tech team that went to 8 overtimes with UGA, right? That's a considering factor. I just think we need to really consider team strength of schedule when you're talking about the national championship. Do you or have you really earned the right to say that playing the tier talent that you've played? And no, Boise, like, without it being Genty, I'm like, I don't want to see Boise State. And if Boise State were to play Georgia, would Genty really get off? Like, okay, why do you feel this way? All right, I'm going to be the person that's going to be looking at TV like this. And I don't want to see what happened to TCU and Georgia for the national championship. I don't want to see what happened to Oklahoma when USC was supposed to play Auburn that year. I don't want to see these things. And it could have been prevented if somebody just been honest and said, no, bro, hey, it's your weight class. Understand your weight class. You good, but you ain't that good yet. And I'm sorry if I'm ruffling feathers. I need to ruffle feathers for people to understand. Boise State is not on the same trajectory. Arizona State is not on the same trajectory. Respectful to Indiana, I see what they was trying to do, but when they play Ohio State, you see who they really are. So,
yeah.
All right, first year out, right? So it's not going to be perfect. Agree with a lot of those points right there, because I think a lot of people have a sour taste in their mouth from not only what happened with TCU, but from what we saw when Cincinnati got into the Final Four the one year and Alabama took it easy on them and still ran them out of the building in that game. But if this were the old format, what would we have as the Final Four right now? We'd have Oregon, Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame.
No thanks.
Would anybody be okay with that?
No.
Because we'd be good with Oregon.
Bill said no thanks.
But we would be looking at Texas saying, wait a minute, you played one big game, you lost it. We'd be looking at Penn State saying you played one big game, you lost it. We would be looking at Notre Dame saying you played one big game, you beat A&M, but you lost Northern Illinois. We'd have Georgia on the outside looking in, and then countless others, right? So improvement, yes. Room for improvement. Agree with Cam, there's some, but this is still a hell of a lot better than what we could have had based on last year.
And also the bottom line is you let these teams, if Boise State ain't supposed to be there, they'll get their doors blown off.
Yeah.
Right? If Arizona State's not supposed to be there, they'll get their doors blown off. The same for the Notre Dames or for whatever teams you don't think has earned their right or their way into this. But in the old format, you're right. Georgia doesn't get there.
Yeah.
Right? We're talking about some of these teams that are going to have opportunities. An Alabama team that has 3 losses, or maybe a Miami team that has 2 losses. They're going to get their opportunity to show why they should be in the Final Four. And then it's going to play out in that manner. This is the first time we're actually getting to say, okay, if you think Georgia's one of the top 4, then play your way in.
Yes.
Right? If you think Penn State's one of the top 4, play your way in. All of these teams will get those opportunities, and then we'll have nothing to say. And so if the final 4 teams or the final 2 teams is exactly what you care about, and you expect to get that in the 3rd week of January like you've gotten it in the middle of January every year, this is actually the best way to get to it. And maybe you don't want to see Boise? Well, don't watch the freaking game.
Yeah.
Right? Because in a 4-game or 4-team format, they would not be in there. What's going to be fun about this is when we get to the 4 teams, it's going to be the 4 teams that earn their way there.
Correct. And that's big of you being an SEC guy,
Yeah.
I got to say.
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
seriously.
because
it's a grown-up Ryan
It's
Clark.
almost like the NCAA tournament, right? You're seeing these small programs, these Cinderella schools knocking people off. Cinderella might be a little aggressive. And the team that's earned it, get in there.
But I think the other piece
Hell
of it,
wants to see the Blue Bloods.
I don't mean to cut it off, but like it's the same reason that the playoffs right now wouldn't be Kansas City and Buffalo and then just the Eagles in Detroit because of the conversation we had about Green Bay. right? Because of a conversation we have about Baltimore or Pittsburgh.
Right. Now, I'm with you. I completely agree with you in that. I think this actually cushions us from what I thought was one of the more egregious decisions that we've seen, which was last year a Georgia team who had gone 2 straight years without losing a regular season game, loses in the SEC championship to Alabama, and are completely left out. So it cushions us from those kinds of things, and I'm with you. Like, I think that there is a whole ton of pretenders. And I'm not, when I said no thank you to that Final Four, I mostly meant Penn State. I think they're fraudulent. But here's the thing. But here's the thing. Sorry, Joe.
You get the pro-Georgia stuff, and then you got to come at the Penn State.
No, but here's the thing with me. I am anticipating, I'm reading the tea leaves, and I am anticipating one of the most exhaustive conversations, and I'm sick of hearing it, about how the SEC has shown so much more favoritism, and how the SEC, you guys will do anything you can. It's rigged for the SEC. I'm so tired of hearing it. Listen, I am no Bama fan, but ultimately, even with those 3 losses, if they have an opportunity to make it in, they should over a Miami team. I'm sorry. Who's Miami's best win? Louisville.
Yeah.
They lost to Georgia Tech. They almost lost to Virginia Tech. They almost lost to Cal. They lost to Syracuse. Like, the SEC cannibalizes itself as a criticism. Oh, you guys act like the SEC is so dominant. It's because they're all cannibalizing. They have to play tough schedules. Georgia has the toughest strength of schedule, which is why, even if they lose to Texas tomorrow, they're still going to make the postseason. And I don't want to hear anything if they also sneak in an Alabama or even an Ole Miss. Because at some point, all these SEC schools were ranked top 10, and not early on in the season. I'm not talking about Missouri, Ole Miss, Bama, Tennessee, Georgia, Texas, South Carolina, not ranked, but still making it a conversation with how they've played of late.
Yeah, I'm not
Stop with the SEC hate.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I'm not
it's the best
arguing that, though,
conference.
but to me, look, that's the reason 12 teams work.
Sure.
Right? And now, if you think Alabama's one of the best 4, if you think Georgia's one of the best 4, Texas, all of them have an opportunity to earn their way into the Final Four when they wouldn't before.
Sure.
Right? You weren't going to pick 3
Yeah.
SEC teams to be in the Final Four. Right? When the Georgia and the Alabamas were getting to the championships, people were all pissed off about it. So now you ain't got to worry about that because they have to earn their way. And I'm comfortable with that. But also I'm comfortable with an Arizona State that is an upstart, that has Kenny Dillingham in his 2nd year, who goes out and wins the Big 12, getting an opportunity to play. I want people to see Cam Scatterbo play. Right?
I want
people to see Kenny Dillingham
But
coach.
do you want
Okay, hold
people
on.
to see Arizona State in the semis or the national championship?
If they win their way there, yes. Because what we're saying right now is they're going to be in the
I'm
12.
with Ryan. Go ahead, Cam. I know you're
Ryan
fired
Clark.
up.
I've been patiently just trying to hear your side of the story, and 98% of everything that you say, I agree with.
It was 99
y'all,
last week, Cam.
That's getting
2 times
worse.
you
Yeah.
did
Getting
it.
Now give me that 10th of a percentage on. Come on back. But when you think about the top 4 right now, since I'm on a roll and I'm ruffling feathers, I might as well just keep it a buck with this one. Hey, nobody wants to see Notre Dame in there either, too, bro. Notre Dame is college football's Dallas Cowboys. Like, nobody wants to see them. Do they have a legacy organization and program? Absolutely. Rudy. Yeah, that's about the last time like we see these type of things. There's no such thing as a Cinderella story in college football.
I would like to see.
Every time you try to root for the underdog, they get smashed. Come on now.
I don't know. Now with 12 teams. Don't you have a son that plays?
I would like to see Notre Dame play. I want to see my son play in the championship. So that would be an excellent outing for me if Notre Dame makes it. This is what I know. Because I make every game. I go to every single game my son plays. All I know is we was at Texas A&M, and we walked out as a winner. Like, there was other SEC teams that went in there and got their doors blown off. My actual alma mater went there and lost the game.
Team.
Hold up one second. I don't want to gloss over the
SEC team.
Well, we heard you, the 8th best SEC team. What did you think about his analogy, though, that Notre Dame is the Dallas Cowboys?
They absolutely are. They're America's college team.
Dallas, Notre Dame, the Yankees, they're all kind of
together. And I'm going to tell you, I can be honest about this. Like, the coolest thing about my son going to Notre Dame is that was my dream school. Because at home, I didn't watch LSU play every Saturday, but I watched Notre Dame play every single Saturday. The same way there are so many people who are Braves fans or Chicago Cubs fans because those networks broadcast their games all the time. And if you got them, you got to see them.
Yeah.
And, I look at Notre Dame right now, and the difference I'm going to say between Notre Dame in some of these SEC schools is depth.
Yeah.
Right? That when they get hurt on the top end, they're not going to have that 5-star always backing up that 4-star.
Yeah.
They're not going to have that player that once you lose a guy, the next guy stepping up has the experience or can play on that level. Like, I agree with that. But top end, they can line up across from everybody. But here's the other thing. If you don't think they're good, then go beat them.
Sure.
Right? So if you're Alabama,
There's a way to settle it.
if you're Alabama
Yeah.
and it's December 21st, march Jalen Milroe up there, march Kalen DeBoer up there in that 20-degree weather, in that snow, and go stand across from them boys and beat them. And if you send them home, you send them home. And you get to the Final Four like you think everybody expects you to. And then if they kick your tail, then go back home to the country and live life.
Yeah. Cam, I feel like you're very Stephen A. on the show this morning, who only wants, like, the box office, the Lakers.
Somebody
He
has
wants
to
the
carry the
Lakers.
torch.
Every player should go to the Lakers. That's you right now with all SEC.
Man, newsflash. I could tell you what's going to be the result of somebody playing Notre Dame, especially if it's Alabama. They're going to blow the doze off of Notre Dame.
I look forward
All right.
I look forward to it happening.
Oh, I love it.
I might turn